It's week 14. For most of us, it's the last week until you make it into the playoffs. It's win or go home, baby. Let's talk about some players I love and hate this week. Let's get it started. Quarterbacks I love, hate, and a couple sleepers. Dak Prescott. Dak has been on fire this year, and that does not stop going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, who have the worst defense against quarterbacks. Dak's gonna light them up. Next up, Tua Tagovailoa going up against the Tennessee Titans. That doesn't scare you at all. They're in the bottom third against quarterbacks. Tua should have a fine day. Quarterbacks I hate this week, Geno Smith. Yes, I know Geno balled out last week against the Dallas Cowboys, but the week before that, he had 8 fantasy points against the San Francisco 49ers. Well, not only is he playing the 49ers this week, he's playing at San Francisco. It's going to be a bad week for him. Sit him if you can. And I hate to do it, but CJ Stroud is a sit if you can. You don't have to sit him, but I don't expect him to have upside this week. He's going up against the New York Jets, who's a top 3 defense against the quarterback position. But on top of that, the weather is crazy. 89% chance of rain. The wind is between 14 and 19 miles per hour. Sheesh. This game's gonna be messy. Can he overcome it? Sure. Does that take him away from being a must start? Absolutely. And Justin Fields is my sleeper going up against the Detroit Lions. Justin Fields, who played very well against the Detroit Lions the last time they played, he rushed for over 100 yards. Now he gets to play them at home. This should be a good game. Fire up your Justin Fields if you need a start. Wide receivers I love, hate, and some sleepers. Starting off with the loves, I love DJ Moore this week. Going up against the Detroit Lions, he had 23 points the last time he played them in week 11. Now they play him at home. I think this should be a fine matchup. Fire up your DJ Moore. I didn't know whether or not to put Rashee Rice as a sleeper or a love, but he slid in with the loves because he had back-to-back 9 or more target games. He's had 8 receptions in back-to-back games. Going up against the Buffalo Bills, the Bills can score. Kansas City's gonna have to keep up at home. And on top of that, Isaiah Pacheco is out this week, meaning their run game isn't gonna be as good, leading to them needing to pass the ball more. Yes, I think Jerick McKinnon gets more involved, but I think Rashee Rice is more of a necessity now than he has been previously. Fire up your Rashee Rice. I'm looking for 885 and 1. I won't say I hate Cooper Kupp, but I will say minimize your expectations. Cooper Kupp is not only playing one of the best defenses in the league against wide receivers in Baltimore, but the weather is also awful. They're tracking it at 100% chance of rain with winds sustaining at 14 miles per hour, which is close to being an issue. I'm not saying don't start Cooper Kupp, but I am saying limit your expectation. For sleepers, I like Brandon Cooks this week. He's been balling. He's had double-digit fantasy points 5 out of the last 7 games. He happened to also get touchdowns in all those games, but Dallas been balling. What do you expect? Oh yeah, and the Eagles allow the most fantasy points to the wide receiver position. Cooks should be cooking. Fire up your Brandon Cooks. I also like Romeo Doubs and Jalen Reed, assuming Jalen Reed plays. He's questionable at the moment. But with Christian Watson most likely sitting out this week, I think that they get more work and they go up against the second easiest matchup for wide receivers in the New York Giants. Fire up your Packers wide receivers. Running backs I love, hate, and a couple sleepers. I love Devon Achane this week. I missed him last week because I was being cautious on his first game back. For all of you that said I was crazy, you turned out to be right, but 2 weeks ago you would have been wrong because we started him against Vegas and he sucked because he got injured again. Well, he's healthy now and he is bowling. Fire up your Achane. The Tennessee Titans do not scare you. They're mid at best. Next up, we got Joe Mixon. Mixon has been balling as of late, and I think that continues going up against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have been the 3rd worst defense against the running back position the last 3 weeks, and to be honest with you, on the year, they're the 4th worst. So all year, they've been giving it up to the running backs. Look for Mixon to ball out. I hate all of the Seattle Seahawks running backs. Any of them. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. First off, they're both banged up. Even if one of them does play, it's not going to go well. And if they both sit, it's going to be DJ Dallas, and unless you are desperate upon desperate to start this madman, look at him, his eyes. Oh my God. I wouldn't start him. The 49ers are absolute beasts against the running back position. Top 5 in the league against the running back. I don't really want a piece of that. Next up, Alexander Mattison. He has been mid at best this year. He hasn't hit over 10 points in PPR for 5 of the last 6 games. That is outrageous. He's not an absolute must bench because he has a not terrible matchup, but I'm really not trying to start him. For some sleepers, I'm gonna go with Zach Moss. Some of you may not consider him a sleeper, but a lot of y'all ain't trying to start him after you got 8 points last week in a PPR. Well, I'm here to tell you that he got a decent amount of carries in the red zone and he just didn't cash in on them. I think he cashes in this week against Cincinnati. Fire up your Zach Moss. Thank me later. And for those of you always saying that none of these guys are available in your leagues, well, Jerick McKinnon is only rostered in 23% of leagues, so hopefully he's on your wire. I actually think that he has a good game. Everybody's going to be going to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and though I think that it's possible that you could start him because he is the quote starter, I think that Jerick McKinnon is going to be the most valuable running back for the Chiefs this weekend. He's going to catch the ball and they use him in creative ways that can get him out in some space. I think Jerick McKinnon is a nice sleeper this week. Tight ends I love, and a couple sleepers. Jake Ferguson. I want pieces of this Dallas Cowboys versus Philadelphia Eagles game. It's not the best of matchups, but I think it's going to be a back and forth affair, and Jake Ferguson did work last time they played the Philadelphia Eagles. 22 fantasy points. For a sleeper, Dalton Schultz is a solid play if he plays this week. There's a chance he misses. It says out right here, but I've heard that there's a chance he plays. If he plays, I play him. But if not, I think you can look at his backup, Brevin Jordan. 5 targets last week. With Tank Dell going down and with the terrible weather in this game, I think that he may want to throw it short. Brevin may get more targets than he's expecting this week. Fire him up as a sleeper. Defenses I love, hate, and a sleeper. The Miami Dolphins. I love the Miami Dolphins. They have been balling out. And if you got them or they're available, fire up your Dolphins. They go up against the Tennessee Titans. Love that matchup for this week. Love that they go up against the Jets next week. Not a big fan of Dallas and Baltimore the following 2 weeks, but these next 2 weeks, fire up your Miami Dolphins. I also love the New Orleans Saints going up against the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers, how do I say this kindly, suck. They're currently trying to get the first overall pick. Oh, wait, they gave that away. They currently aren't playing for anything. Fire up your New Orleans Saints defense. I'd like to say this would get ugly, but honestly, it's a division matchup. I think it's going to be low scoring and boring. I hate the Dallas Cowboys. Well, not necessarily their team, though I don't really like the Cowboys. It's more their fans. But getting back on topic, I hate the Cowboys defense this week. Going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, I hear a lot of people talking noise about how Dallas is going to do work against the Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, Dallas, just a heads up. Y'all are not the 49ers, bro. Why y'all acting like that? Y'all not about to do work against the Eagles. The fact that it's a 3.5 point spread, I personally think is disrespectful. They should be within 3 for sure. Philadelphia Eagles gonna do work this weekend. They got embarrassed last week. Now they're showing up at the Cowboys' house. Let's see how y'all respond. Hell, y'all let the Seattle Seahawks throw up 35 on you. Yeesh. As a sleeper, I have the Houston Texans. They go up against the New York Jets, and the Jets are just now figuring out who their quarterback's gonna be, and all of them suck. So I think this should be a low-scoring game. The weather is absolutely awful, so I do think it's gonna be pretty messy. Probably low-scoring. I think Houston Texans should be good. Now that we've gotten through my love-hates for the week, there's a couple service announcements I feel like I should give you. For everybody that is not going to make the playoffs, I'm sorry, it's a tough time. I know that it can be easy to disengage, but stay focused. Your new goal is keeping other people from the playoffs. You need to win this week. Will it put you in the playoffs? Absolutely not. You've been eliminated. Will it make you feel better if you keep somebody from the playoffs? Absolutely. Not fully better, not like, oh, I'm going to the playoffs better, but you're not going to the playoffs either. Kind of better. Regardless, set your lineups, play to win, do your best. And don't check out. Keep watching football. You're going to learn more about who's going to be good next year, in this last part of the year, and in the playoffs. The tides change. Stay engaged. If you play fantasy football, you need to know about the bad weather games this week. It will affect your roster decisions, so listen up. The Houston Texans versus the New York Jets at MetLife is gonna be a mess though. 89% chance of rain, starting with winds of 14 miles an hour, getting up to 19 miles an hour. And if there is any delays, at 4 p.m. it's 21 miles an hour. At 5 p.m. is 23 miles an hour. Yeah, this is going to be a messy game. CJ Stroud could have a tough time throwing the ball. Everybody knows Zach Wilson sucks, so that's already going to be tough for him to throw the ball. Look for the running backs to get more involved in the shorter passes. It gets even worse in this Baltimore game. Los Angeles Rams versus the Baltimore Ravens. 100% chance of rain, but the wind is better in this one. 14 miles an hour. It starts to get iffy at 15 miles an hour. 14 miles an hour isn't great, but it's much better than the Jets game. Jacksonville versus the Browns. 34% chance of rain. 12 miles an hour wind. That's not too bad. Just something to monitor in case it gets worse. So keep monitoring the weather in these matchups because the weather changes at any moment, but the more wind, the more it affects passing and kicking. Teams might run the ball a little more. Just a couple helpful tips. If you have any start-sit questions or questions in general, hit me down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below. Good luck in your matchup this week. You got this. Peace.